Good afternoon, everyone. Looks like we got Corvallis OGs in class today. I try with this webcam, but no matter what I do, it's always crooked, so I apologize for that. Today, we're going to start in our child's pose, so we're going to start a little bit different. So go ahead and sit back on your heels, reach those arms forward, and just relax your forehead and your forearms to your mat. Feel free to play your own music in the background, or if you just want to listen to the birds chirping, that's fine too. Using this time to expand your breath. Again, your forehead and your forearms are released to your mat. Optional, you can take those knees to the outside of your mat, keeping your feet together and sit back into a wide child's pose, whichever is more comfortable for you at this moment. I want you to listen to your body here and kind of just start to add movement. I'm going to rock my hips side to side. You might be walking your hands side to side, or maybe you're rolling out your wrists. I just want you to add movement through your body where you feel you need it. Taking your time to shift into tabletops. Bringing those knees back in line with your hips if you did make them wider. Wrists are in line with our shoulders. We're going to start by just nodding our head. Our spine is going to stay nice and strong. Our back, at least. Our neck is moving. When you're ready, go ahead and add movement, allowing that pelvis to follow. Rounding and tucking through that spine, using your pelvis. Reminder to inhale as you lift and open that chin, and exhale as you tuck and round. Note that your pace is going to be a little bit different from mine because you're following your own breath here. That's completely okay. Go ahead and complete that last exhale, sitting back onto those heels, keeping your arms forward, fingertips reaching far out in front of you. Forehead is releasing to your mat, and we're just going to start to bring those hands off the floor and release. If you're not able to get those hands off the floor, that's fine. It gives you something to work towards. That's what I get for talking too fast. If you're able to bring those hands off the floor and you want to add a pull down, bringing those elbows to your body, go ahead and add that, extending those arms and releasing, doing that a few times on your own, whether you're just bringing those hands off the floor or you're adding that pull down. Go ahead and finish off with one more. Releasing those hands and shifting your weight back into tabletops. From here, we're going to go into a bird dog. So we're going to bring let's start with our right foot kicks back. Knees are, or hips are aligned. So what I mean by that is you're not dropping your hip. You're keeping your hips level. Opposite arm or your left arm is going to reach out by your ears, squeezing and controlling. Let's go ahead and lift that foot off the floor for your bird dog. Fingertips and toes are reaching to opposite sides of the room here. You stay where you're at. I'm going to turn just so you can see what I'm going to do next. I want you to release that hand down and swing that leg out to the side and release. Very good. Go ahead and sit back into that child's pose with one leg extended. I just can't stop stuttering today. I can't talk. Let's see if I can get this out. Bringing those hands below your shoulders, use them to press yourself up. That leg is still extended out to the side. Arms reach to your ears. We're going to release that arm down to the floor, extending. I want you to avoid relaxing that head to your shoulder. Keep that space open. Are you able to point your toe? Maybe you can get that foot flat to the floor. As we lift, we're going to start with our arm and then with our chest. And we're going to bring that leg in line with our hips. From here, we're going to place our hands. I'm going to turn again. Place our hands on our lower back. Opening your chest, so pulling those shoulders back, chin lifts up. I just want you to start here. Keep those hands on your lower back for support. If you're feeling too much pressure on that lower back, I want you to tuck that pelvis in. Keep that core tight. If you're ready to expand that stretch, go ahead and allow those hips to push forward as you open that chin a little further. I don't want you to take those hands away quite yet. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sit back onto your heels into child's pose. Those of you who are waiting for that camel pose, don't worry, it's coming. I'm just giving us a little more time to warm up today. Inhale, shift forward. We're going to get ready for that bird dog on the other side. This time stepping back with our left foot. Right arm reaches forward. Keeping that core controlled before lifting and squeezing with your glutes. Pointing your toe to the back wall. Releasing that hand to the floor. Opening your leg out to the side, releasing here. And go ahead and sit back into that heel. Let's take those hands below our shoulders, using them to press ourselves up. Arms lift up to our ears. Exhale, dropping that left arm down, right arm reaches over. Again, keeping the space between your shoulder and your ear, so not letting that ear relax. Lifting with our arm, and then with our chest. And finally with that leg. I'm going to turn so you can see me. You can stay facing me if you'd like. Knees are in line with your hips. Hands are placed below or on that lower back, fingers facing down. Again, if you're feeling pressure through that low back, I want you to keep those hips rolled under and tight. If you're able to expand that stretch, you go ahead and allow your hips to lift forward, chin opens, and maybe reaching for those ankles one at a time. Using your hands for support before lifting yourself back up. And exhale, sit back into child's pose. Let's take those hands below our shoulders, use them to press ourselves up. Tucking your toes under, let's go ahead and bring those hips up. Knees off the floor, downward dog. I'm a little bit closer than I normally am, but it feels good on my calves. Go ahead and find your position. Slowly walking those feet towards your hands. Slight bend through the knees as you roll into standing. Big inhale overhead. Exhale, push those hips back, swan dive, forward fold. We're going immediately back into that downward dog. Walking your feet back, finding that placement for your downward dog. This time, go ahead and extend that right leg. For your three-legged dog, weight is distributed equally on all three. Allowing your hip to open as you point your toe over to the left wall. Extending your legs, squaring those hips back to the floor, swinging that leg up through to your hands for your runner's lunge. Remember, your heel is parallel with your front foot, so your heel should not be rotated in. Not yet, at least. As you exhale, I want you to release that knee to the floor and sit up. So normally I have you drop your hips forward. This time I'm going to bring your foot back. So if you need a pillow or a blanket below that bottom knee for support, feel free to add that. Placing your hands on your hips. So you should have a 90-degree with those knees. I want you to just tuck those hips under. You should be feeling that stretch right here in your psoas. If you still are not feeling that stretch, then you can slowly shift forward. But I really want you to focus on tucking here. Breathe through the stretch, team. Don't hold your breath. Go ahead and release. Place those hands on the inside of that front foot. Step back into tabletops. Tuck those toes under. Let's do the other side, starting in your downward dog. Bringing those feet to your hands. Tucking your knees into your chest as you roll slowly into standing. Inhale, lift. Breathe overhead. Exhale, swan dive. Push those hips back, lengthen through the spine. Walking those feet back into downward dog. I want you to press your head through your shoulders. Lengthen through the spine before extending that left leg. Pointing your toe over to the right wall. Extending that leg as you square your hips back to the floor, swinging that leg up through to your runner's lunge. Hold here. Breathe through the stretch. Exhale, gently releasing that knee behind you, lifting it up. Go ahead and bring that foot back a little bit. So your knee is about 90 degrees here. Again, we're going to place our hands on our hips and we're going to roll those hips under. So it's like you're squeezing your bottom, feeling that stretch through the psoas. Again, if you need that deeper stretch, then you can inch your way forward, but I want you to focus here first. Hands placed on the inside of that front knee, stepping back and sitting back into child's pose. Go ahead and rock those hips if you need to. All right, I want our ankles to be nice and worn for this next exercise. So let's go ahead and sit back onto our ankles. you're anything like me, they're a little extra tight today. Some of you may need to place a blanket or a pillow between your bottom and your heels. Some of you might even be able to lean back a little bit. Not today for me. All right, let's bring those hands forward. Tuck those toes under. Lift those knees up. Let's go ahead and get the calves. Feel free to walk through those feet. Walking those feet forward. Tucking your knees into your chest as you roll slowly into standing. Let's go ahead and open up into a wide stance. So I'm going to turn this way just so you can see me. Nice wide stance. We're going to work on our lateral lunges today, or Spider-Man. So we're going to start by just pushing those hips back. Extend the legs, hips back. This is why I said we needed to work on those ankles a little bit before we got here. Hips back. If you can, as you get a little bit warmed up, you can get into a little bit deeper of a stretch. For now, our feet are staying flat on the floor. I'll let you know when we change that. My left side, or if I'm mirroring you, my right side. So this side is a lot more challenging. Because of my ankle, I know it. All right, I want you to do one more and hold it. So here, we're gonna open that toe. So your hips are opening, toes off the floor, and here's our Spider-Man. So we're sitting back into this stretch. This front foot should not come off the floor. So you might be up. If you're sitting down. Let's go ahead and finish off this last one. Stand it up, feet flat on the floor. Inhale. Exhale, push those hips back, lengthen to the spine, wide forward fold. Eyes are looking behind you. Maybe your hands or forearms are on the floor. Maybe you're using something to modify. Breathe into the stretch, team. Slowly walking over to one side. And walking through the center, over to the other side. And taking those hands back to center, scooting your feet in to your forward fold position. So back in line with your hips, feet facing forward. in line with your hips. Hold here for a few breaths. I'm just going to turn back to the side. Feel free to reach for those elbows and let gravity do its job. Slight bend through the knees as you place those hands on the floor, stepping back into plank. Dropping those knees down to the floor. You can either drop your hips here, raise into your cobra, or you can release to those forearms. Strong through the shoulders. Inhale, wave through the hips, sitting back into child's pose one last time for today. Bringing your hands below your shoulders, using them to press yourself up. Let's go ahead and sit back onto our glutes. Scooting forward, I'm going to have us do a few rolls before we completely lay down. So tuck into your nice tight ball, roll back, and lift back into seated position. Notice how I'm sitting tall. I'm not slouching. Doing that a few times. On your next roll, go ahead and stay down. Place those feet on the floor. All right, so I'm going to have you bring your hands overhead, palms facing up. So if you're able to do this, wrists, elbows, forearms are all placed on the floor, no discomfort at all. Challenge yourself by extending your legs here. If your back hyperextends and you're starting to feel discomfort or pain, go ahead and bring those feet back to the floor. If your feet are flat and this is still painful, go ahead and place your hands onto something like a pillow or a blanket and just make that a goal to bring everything flat, arms overhead. If your legs are extended and your arms are still flat on the floor with no discomfort or pain, then that's awesome. That means you've got great shoulder mobility, shoulder flexibility. As you exhale, go ahead and reverse snow angel those arms to your sides. You can choose to keep your feet flat on the floor or extended here. As you relax your eyes, go ahead and pull those shoulders down an inch or two. Allow your feet to open or relax to follow your hips. Allow the muscles in your face to relax. And take any thoughts of work or anything stressful, take them and forget about them for a few moments as you take your mind over to your breath and your body and stay there. Keeping your eyes relaxed. I want you to just start rocking your head side to side. Start with very small movements. And as you take your time to make that movement bigger, go ahead and bring that chin over your shoulder if you are able to. Head comes back to center, sliding your feet flat to the floor. And rolling over to one side of your choice. Taking your time to open your eyes. And eventually press yourself back up into your comfortable seated position. As you inhale, let's bring our arms overhead. Exhale your arms to your sides. Inhale, big breath overhead. Exhale. One more time, hands come to prayer. Exhale, hands to heart. Namaste. Thank you all for participating in our Monday yoga class. I will see you all on Wednesday. Please don't forget to register for TechMan Try. That is coming up in a few days already. TechMan Try starts in September. If you did not get the registration email for that, feel free to reach out to me. This is open to tenants and HP employees, so it's open to everyone. Find a team. There's a really cool neck buff that says 2020 this year. I think it's an appropriate prize. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out. You know where to find me. Thanks, Kathy.